And good morning from the Philippines. This is another edition of An Eternity of Basketball. I have no idea what episode number this is right now, guys, but you can probably help me out
66.
later.
66.
66 na ba tayo?
Yes,
Wow,
sir.
episode 66 na po tayo. And before we begin, of course, meron tayong mga konting patalastas and she's back. Hang Time with Cassie G is back on air dito sa ating network sa Globally Ballin. And she will be talking to the very tall Cherry Nunag in her next episode. So that'll be Cassie G with Cherry Nunag sa Hang Time with Cassie G. And also another thing that we'd like you all to know, of course, the Globally Ballin network is everywhere. Just follow the Globally Ballin, www.globallyballin.com to get all of the episodes of all sports that we tackle from all around the world. And of course, all of our shows are also available on YouTube. And speaking of the shows, An Eternity of Basketball is one of them. And if you're new to An Eternity of Basketball, on our Facebook page, you can actually catch a link of all of the previous episodes. All 65 of the previous episodes can be seen there. You can catch us on Spotify and, of course, also catch us on YouTube. All the episodes are already on YouTube for An Eternity of Basketball. And last one, of course, Linktree is going to link everything together. So just go follow Linktree /Globally Ballin, and you won't miss a beat from all of the shows that we have here at Globally Ballin. With that being said, we'd like to say good morning from the Philippines. My name is Noel Zarate with Charlie Cuna and Sid Ventura pa rin, and I'm back from last week. Thank you guys for bringing in Jay to replace me last week. But now we have one of the guys na talagang hinihintay na ng ating mga fans. Matagal pa ng pandemic, mula pa lang ng pandemic. They've been requesting for this gentleman. Former player from San Beda, many-time national team member, a 7-time PBA champion, 7-time defensive team member, all-defensive team member of the PBA, and of course, one of the 40 greatest players in PBA history who's done so many other things, and we'll talk about that also. Dumaan din siya as athletic director ng NU, dumaan din siya as commissioner of the UAAP, and of course, he's still the president of the Philippine Amateur Baseball Association, and recently has been named to the executive committee of the Philippine Olympic Committee. Busog na busog itong ating show ngayon with the dynamite, Chito Loyzaga. Magandang umaga, Mr. Chito.
Magandang umaga and good morning to all our listeners and followers, and good morning to all of you.
Morning.
Well, of course.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you also na pagbigyan niyo na kami. I mean, how are you doing right now? Alam ko, nandiyan kayo sa secret hideaway niyo in the middle of 3 provinces.
Well, you know, we're all again. It's been almost a year now, and you know, we're facing this pandemic, and of course, everyone you know around the world is challenged, you know, to overcome this disease and this pandemic that we have right now. I just hope and pray that everybody's safe, and in due time, hopefully with the vaccines available soon, we will be able to overcome and, you know, perhaps bring ourselves to some sense of normality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're all praying for that vaccine to finally help kickstart sports once again. Tama sinabi niyo, it's been almost a year already since natigil ang lahat. Pero mula doon sa natigil, punta muna tayo doon sa simula. Ano? Your love affair with basketball, of course, began with probably the greatest basketball player to ever live. We're talking about, of course, the big difference, si Chito Loyzaga. So, paano kayo namulatan dito sa sport na to, and how early did you learn the basics from no less than the greatest of all time?
Well, I started really very young. You know, I think... I remember even having photos at a year old or 2, I think, and from then on, I never stopped, you know, picking up the ball and doing my dribbles and trying to learn the game. No, so at a very young age, I was already exposed. You know, during my younger years, it wasn't unusual to have a small basketball court in the house. Mm-hmm. So, ngayon, bihira ka na makikitang may basketball court sa bahay. You know? But in our case, I had a basketball court, and it depended on my age. No, of course, the goal perhaps was not as high as when I was 2 years old compared to when I was already in my teens. No. Um, but it was always available. It was always available all the way till college. So, I mean, again, we had free time. I mean, my brother and myself, we just pick up the ball and practice our shots and, do all our moves, practice all our moves. So we had that opportunity to always sharpen our skills. So, like, even in the situation that we have today. I mean, imagine you were nakakulong sa bahay. If we had that same scenario today, we would still be at our house playing basketball just among ourselves. Because we had a goal available in the house.
So how was that like growing up in the Loyzaga household?
I don't
Kailan
hear
nyo
you.
nalaman na yung tatay nyo was a big deal in basketball? Can
Sorry,
you hear
no,
me?
sorry, Noel. I don't hear.
Sorry,
I don't
sorry.
hear
I
you.
will repeat the question. Can you hear me now? Okay na?
Yes, I can hear you
Okay,
now.
okay, okay. So yung nung growing up, what was it like growing up dun sa Loyzaga household, dun sa bahay niyo sa Antipolo actually, yung ancestral home niyo, did you know at an early age na yung tatay niyo was a very big deal pagdating sa basketball? And how was it like na you're starting to figure out na uy, pwede rin pala kaming maging katulad ni Daddy?
Well, I'll really go way back, no, and we were aware, no, well, particularly me, no, because I was the eldest, and then Joey was after me. But I mean, we started all the way in our first house in Novaliches, no. That's where we grew up. It was in Vic Marie compound, somewhere in Novaliches, in Ballin. We stayed there. Perhaps till I was maybe around 8 years old. And as I said, it was just a small house, but we had a basketball court and we had that opportunity to practice. No, initially it was just me, and then when Joey came along, it was him and me. No, but yeah, during those times, apart from basketball, you knew your next door neighbor, no, and not limit ourselves to just playing basketball, but all the other kids games that you would normally play during that time. We would participate in. But basketball really was just in the house, and it was really just between me and my brother. And then from there we moved to Horseshoe in Quezon City, and that was perhaps my grade school and high school years. And again, we also had a basketball court in the house, no. And those years we continue sharpening our skills. We went to school in Ateneo, and in Ateneo as well, we continued practicing there and participate in all the school events and teams, not limited ourselves to just basketball, but in other sports as well. And then from Horseshoe, we moved to Antipolo, no? And at that time, Joey and myself were in college already, and we still had a basketball court there. And we just continued training day in, day out. Any free time that we had, he had his own ball and I had mine, and my dad also had his, no. So there were a few times, particularly when we were older, yeah, maybe in the high school and college level, he would call us out, no, and the three of us would be in the basketball court, and he would teach us, no. But the things that he taught us really was really just more the basics. Why you need to use your left hand and not your right hand, or why you have to use your right foot instead of your left foot, or things like that, no. Why you need to put your left hand up and not your right hand, and things like that, no. in the form, even when you do your layup, and when you take your jump shot, or when
Mhm.
he would teach us all of those basics, um, w- whether we were already part of a basketball team or not. um, he would also always make time to teach us what, or express and share what his thoughts are when it comes to the when it comes to the game.
That's one of the things I wanted to really ask about is if King Kaloy really was involved in teaching you guys on a, well, not a daily basis, but on a regular basis. Or, well, you answered that
Yeah.
already. But when did you start playing official, yung parang organized tournaments already? Were you varsity in grade school pa lang? Meron na bang midgets nung time na yun? Or was it in high
Yeah.
school already when you were juniors already playing?
Oh my God! This one I can recall clearly. My ever first tournament, really, that I participated. I was in high school. I think I was in first year high school or second year high school, and at that time, my coach was. I mean, I'm sure everybody in the basketball circle knows this, was Ato Badolato in
Mhm.
Right.
San Beda, di ba?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And he said, he brought us. We're a very young team, and he wanted us to have exposure. And one of the first tournaments that I played in, that representing Sambeda, was we played in, and I'm sure you are familiar with this. We played in 10th Street here
Mm-hmm.
in Murphy in Cubao, and there was a vacant lot that had dirt. It wasn't even concreted. It was just dirt with two basketball courts, and it was just like an inter barangay tournament that we participated in. And I mean, it was really. I mean, you can imagine that we'd start a game with all clean pants and shirt and socks, and then by the time you're done, everything was color
Oh.
brown.
Yeah.
Okay, because of the dust that you'd accumulate, no. But it was fun, and we learned a lot there. We played against. I'm sorry, I can't recall even who the players were, but they were quite good as well, no. Um, but that was my first experience, no, and that was in high school. And then from then on, I'd moved already to other tournaments until I made the junior team for San Beda, no?
Mhm.
But even during that early age, I also exposed myself now because of my schooling in San Beda. I had I played two sports at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
In my first and second year, excuse me, in high school, not only did I play basketball, but I was also playing football for San
Mm-hmm.
Beda.
Okay.
So I cross trained, no? So that helped me until on my third year as high school, where I made the NCAA team, and then from then on played for San Beda College already all the way in the NCAA till I graduated. No?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Go ahead, Sid.
Chito, going back lang to Noel's earlier question,
Yeah.
when did you and Joey realize that your dad was perhaps the best, the greatest Filipino basketball player of all time, or one of the best during his era?
Well, as early as when we were in our house in Novaliches, Balintawak, I mean, we knew he was somebody in basketball because um, you know people would come to the house. He would always be invited. He would travel, and it was really all about basketball, no. Um, and sometimes my mom would go with him, and it was just us by ourselves in the house, and they'll be gone. They'll participate in some international tournament, and they'd be together, no, and nobody will be in the house except our nanny and ourselves. A few times maybe my mom's sister would stay with us, no. But yeah, we were aware as early as that he was a big factor when it came to Philippine basketball, no? As early as that, and that was perhaps somewhere from 6 years old all the way up. We are already aware that when you mention my dad's name, ooh, they're big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how was that like also, Chief, na when you finally wore that San Beda uniform nakalagay Loyzaga, ay, well, wala pang apelyido no, pero nasuot niyo na finally. They knew that there was another Loyzaga playing. What was the pressure like na, uy, anak ni Kaloy yan, ha? Baka ganyan din
Oh.
kagaling.
Oh, the pressure was really gigantic. Because they'll always compare you to how my dad played, and particularly people during his contemporary, because they have seen him play, and whether they were teasing us or whether they were serious about their comments, it was quite challenging for us, actually really intimidating, when they say, malayo ka pa sa tatay mo, or marami ka pang bigas na kakainin baka very intimidating yun, and so but I guess between my brother and myself, and we're thankful that we had the basketball court in the house, so we kept on training and practicing like crazy, even if we we used to play against each other, even one-on-one or practice lang, just for us to compete and perform better, I was aware that I will never surpass what he has achieved, but at least give us a small semblance of sense of, you can tell that this guy is the son of Carlos Loyzaga. Or this
Ilang
legend
beses,
son.
ilang beses kayo nagsuntukan ni Joey doon sa court nyo?
Hindi naman I don't think nagsuntukan kami, but definitely there were arguments, definitely there were times that a bit of when we were younger kids, a bit of crying because they lost, or because we also had an uncle of ours and a cousin of ours who would join us, and we would play dalawahan, so nakakatuwa yun dahil siyempre bukod sa natatalo ka na, bugbog ka rin sa kantsaw, di ba? So pero wala namang awayan na to the point na magsuntukan and may dumugo or walang gano'n, pero we would have a great time, but there were moments na siyempre masyadong serious yung laro, may konting tandaan mo wala naman referee noon, no? So
Kaya nga.
honesty, anong honesty?
Honesty, oo.
Saka wala rin kaawat pag nag-aaway kayo
di ba? Walang aawat
Joey parating yan.
di ba? But again, as we went through those years, it was a very good learning experience for us, no? Even up to today, the cousin and my uncle that we played against or with during our younger times, we still communicate, no? And of course, when we have get-togethers and all of us are there, boy, we start laughing about what we did during our time, But it was good bonding amongst us, and it also helped us, well, particularly myself and my brother, to achieve. Actually, my uncle as well. It also helped him because at a certain time he also played in the UAAP for Ateneo, no? And has won. His name is Jake Cuerva, Javier Cuerva.
Yeah.
Kung mahilig kayo sa showbiz, anak niya yung si Gil Cuerva. artista ngayon.
Artista.
Siya ang tatay, di ba? But he won a lot, some championships for Ateneo. I think kasabay niya sina Chot Reyes and sina Alpanlillo. They were all together in that team during. But yeah, again, I mean, our playing around during our younger years helped us a lot, no, in achieving what we achieved as we grew up.
You mentioned earlier, Chito, that you were in Ateneo first, no, when you were younger, di ba?
Yes.
Of course, we have all our followers here kasi are very they're very loyal to their schools. Also, we have San Beda followers here, Ateneista, mga ganyan. So I'm sure some are curious. Why did you move to San Beda? Why did you not continue in Ateneo to play for the Blue Eagles? Of course, your dad was a bedista, so I mean, obviously,
I think yun na yun eh.
Oh, yun na yun. But I mean, obviously, because you started out as a Blue Eagle, why did you not stay as one?
Well, I'd wish I'd stay because honestly, if we really go back in time, it was really Ateneo first who discovered my dad. And he wanted to play for Ateneo. And it was Father James Donelan who saw him at a very young age, no? And Ateneo wanted to recruit him. But unfortunately, at that time, there was no such thing as scholarship for Ateneo then. And that was a time when they were not able to take him. And before he even actually went to Sambeda, even UST was going to recruit him as well. But I think it was the Fajardo brothers who were coaching, no? Gabi and Feli Fajardo. I think Gabi was coaching UST and Feli was coaching Sambeda, and then I think Feli told Gabi, hindi, amin na lang yan, sa Sambeda na lang yan. Kukunin na lang namin yan. So pumasok siya sa Sambeda, no? But going back to your question, I mean, again, it was nothing really, it was really more, how do I say this? More logistics, meaning we went to Ateneo because Ateneo was the closest school to our house. And we moved to Sambeda because Sambeda became the closest school to our house again. It was really more just strategic accessibility for everyone. And at that time, of course, it was quite challenging for my parents, no.
Sorry, Chito, may nanonood pala dito mga fans mo. Pangalan nila Rino Salazar, Enrique Relosa. Nanonood sila ngayon.
Mga fans ko talaga yan.
May isa pa nanonood na fans mo, JB Yango ang pangalan.
JB Yango.
Yung kasamaan ko sa Sambeda yan. Well, si Ricky and Rino kasabay ko sa Toyota yung mga yan.
That's right.
And in the PBA.
Yeah.
Earlier, si Chuck Barrero was also a junior.
Well,
he said hi.
He yan kasabay ko sa high school, tsaka sa college, tsaka sa commercial league, sa YCO noon, when we joined the commercial league.
Yeah.
Maraming exposure sa basketball talaga, and it's very helpful, no, and there's no regrets, and it was a nice journey.
Chito, I've always wanted to ask this, how did you and Joey get your nicknames? Kasi you're actually Joaquin, di ba? And Joey is Ernesto. Diba?
Yes.
Tapos, I remember nung 80s yung PBA, yung pag nag-free throw, yung graphics was just the first initial and then last name. So, ang lumalabas, J. Loyzaga. So, I was wondering, ano kaya ang pangalan ni Chito? Bakit J ang niya? Tapos, si Joey was E. Pero what's the story behind your nicknames?
Well, if you want the honest to goodness story behind it, you'd have to talk to my mother because she was the one who gave us all our nicknames, But again, just the name Joaquin is my grandfather's name, in my father's side, and Ernesto was really my grandfather in my mother's side. So bininyagan kami yan. But the nicknames were just nicknames that was given by our mother. So we just had to live with it. Or else she will not cook for you.
But may dalawa rin kayong kapatid, di ba? Si Teresa at saka si Carla. Yung Carla, naging Bing naman. Si Teresa, alam ko, may nickname din siya eh.
Tong.
Si Tong naman.
Tong. And actually, I'd have to correct you there, Noel. Tatlo yan. Tatlo yan.
Tatlo pa ba? Okay, okay.
And si Carmen, the eldest of the girls, no? And again, ang pangalan niya, Princess, dahil siya yung unang babae sa pamilya, no? But, nako, I hope she's not listening to us, no? And, but that's her number one complaint. Every time there is a write-up or people say that, apat yung anak. Teka, ba't nawala ako? Saan dapat ako sa pamilya niyan? Because she's not exposed.
Lima sila, ha? Hindi lang apat.
Lima, kaya apat lang ang sumikat, pero lima talaga sila.
Because nga she's quiet and didn't get the exposure that the other four got. Everybody thinks it's only four. But she demands some respect now as well.
That's right. Well, at least we acknowledged her already here. So na-mention na dito. It's clear for everyone who's listening.
Yeah. And she's the eldest of the girls actually.
Okay. So in your high school days ngayon, so you're in San Beda ngayon, nung nakuha na kayo sa varsity sa college ranks, so sino yung mga kasabayan nyo when you started out? You did mention kanina si Chuck Barrero. Sino pa yung mga kasabayan nyo nun?
Well, again, in my first year when I played in the NCAA, actually we were underdogs during that year, no, and the players that were with me I can remember Chuck Barrero, Benji Gadi, Edwin Chu. You know who was my teammate at that time, and sadly, I mean, I hate to say, but he just passed away recently. Was si Congressman Ray Umali from Mindoro. Yeah. He was part of my high school team on my first year, no, and we won the championship then in San Beda, and that was the first championship that Ato got actually in the NCAA. So kami ang nag-umpisa nung legacy niya. After that, dire-diretso na siya.
Wala, isang katutak na after that.
Isang katutak na championship ang nangyari noon, Yeah. But we won the championship on that year, and then the following year, on my graduating year, we were expected to win that championship, but this time we lost it to Ateneo, and Ateneo won it, and that was the time of Steve Watson,
right.
and AU Puyat, I think, was also part of that. But I practically knew most of the players of the team because I came from Ateneo, and we saw each other, and unfortunately, ganun talagang basketball, bilugang bola, only isa lang ang mananalo. So on our first year, they thought Ateneo would win, and we won, and then on the second year, they thought that we would win, and they won. No? Ang nakakatuwa niyan, it continued all the way till college.
Right.
No, high school pa lang yun, ha?
High school pa lang yun. May rivalry na. So, it continued all the way till college. No? And when I moved to college, but even when we were in high school, marami in the college level, it was really Ateneo and LaSalle already playing. The rivalry was there, no? Because I think that was the time of sina Lim Embeng, I think, in LaSalle, and sina Jerry Versosa, sina Carpio, sina Podium, Nabasa in Ateneo, and Louis Rabat, sa Ateneo yan. But when I entered the first year with San Beda, again, we played Ateneo for the finals, and Ateneo won. No? And that was the time when Abby King played for us.
Yan, I was going to ask yan. Naabutan mo si Abi.
Abby King played for us then, and that was the first time that Abby King was recognized and got the exposure, no, in Sambeda then, and then after, but he only played us for 1 year, no, and on the second year, it was JB Yango na that took his place, no. And that was the year that we played Ateneo closed door.
Yes, dami ng kwento nun.
Marami ng kwento nun at
marami na kaming guest na nagkwento ng game na yun.
That was the closer game and we won, ano? And that was at that time, I had my teammates were sina JV Yango, sina Frankie Lim, sina Guzman Brothers, si Louis Brill, si Chuck Barrero, Glenn Manzano, maraming tumuloy din sa PBA na iba si.
Yeah.
And then on the next year, unfortunately, after that year, Ateneo left already, the NCAA. So on the third year, we played LaSalle and Letran for the championship, no, and we won, no. Again, siya pa rin sino, I mean, the core of the team was still there, no, the one that the Guzman brothers, JB Yango was still there. If there were new guys that joined the team, I think it was Elmer Reyes. I don't know if Louis Brill was also part of that team as well.
Andun pa yata siya.
Andun pa yata siya.
And
the Guzman brothers were also there. I'm trying to think of other players. Ber Martin was there. But in the first championship, sina Cholo Martin was with us because they moved from Letran to Sambeda. Cholo Martin and Jun Lisaso. So
he's actually watching also now, si Cholo Martin.
Yeah. So Cholo Martin was on our first year, and that's when we won against Ateneo in the closed door. Yun, so tuloy-tuloy lahat yun.
Anong version nyo dun sa closed door na yun? Kasi nakausap na namin si Frankie, nakausap na namin si Fritz Gaston, nakausap na namin si Steve Watson. Ba't umabot sa ganun, in your opinion? Ba't umabot sa closed door?
Well, honestly, they were more scared because the spectators watching were not in favor of perhaps what they were seeing on the court. That at the end of the day, they started throwing things on the court, no. So that was the thing that they were afraid of. And again, it I think reached to the point na meron na natamaan. Tapos again, and they were not throwing paper, okay?
Yeah.
Bulok daw na itlog.
Sabi nga ni Frankie Lim, medyo malapit
they were not even throwing eggs. Being eggs, hindi ka pa masasaktan sa eggs. But
golf ball daw eh.
Malalaki.
No, golf balls, ball bearings,
Wow.
Ball bearing.
Grabe.
So you'd see all this items. I mean, but amongst players, there wasn't really, it was really just competition. Okay, and there was nothing dirty. It was really, if it was a physical game, it was a physical game, no? But nothing dirty na may suntukan yung mga player. Wala eh. But it was really more, I guess, and up to now, up to the when you watch basketball, if you don't like the call of the referee, everybody goes ballistic, di ba? so I guess during that time, they were more focused at making sure that the referee has to call in favor of them, and if you don't call in their favor, then they get mad and throw something at you. But
did you ever get hit by anything?
No, actually no. Again, I may be wrong, but maybe the best thing for me to answer is I cannot recall. But maybe I have been hit by something, but not to the point that I bled or had a buhol or maybe I was hit by an egg or something. I don't know, but But
Did it?
the people, I mean, the spectators watching were really very passionate at that time. You know, in the same manner that you can see the passion when you watch UAAP, but this time today they're quite civil. You know, you see
Sa social
Ateneo.
media na lang nag-aaway.
Bragging rights na lang sila, 'di ba? Doon nag-aaway. But in front of the court wala na mababait na lahat sila. But at that
How was
time,
it? How was the experience? Tito, how was the experience playing in front of well, not playing in front of the fans for that finals game? Was it different for you? Did it make a difference that the San Beda crowd wasn't there to cheer you on?
it at that time, you know, yeah, of course, there was a I don't know. I mean, everybody was wondering, you know, what it would feel like, you know. Geez, wala naman taong nanonood, tayo lang, parang practice lang to, di ba? So
Parang PBA bubble.
oh, parang PBA bubble, di ba? So you know, again, we knew the impact and and its contribution to the game. So again, the bench had to shout as loud as they can. You know, the number of people that were there, no, and cheer, no. But again, you know, as basketball players, you tend to to eliminate everything that's around you when you get into the court. You just close and block everything out, no, and focus on the game, you know. But and that's basically what happened, no. And it was just one game, which was really the championship game, because I think we won the first game, and then they won the second game, and then
Right.
and then the third game was a close third game, no. Again, you know, of course, celebrating, it was just the handful of people that were there in the bench and a few officials, you know. The celebration just happened the day after, you know, when we went back to school, and then we had our bonfire and, you know, everything else. But right there on the court, there really wasn't much action, you know. I can't even remember who covered the game, you know. But it was
pa nga lang nung time na yun eh.
but it was covered. It was covered because I remember.
TV?
I remember it was covered by TV because one of I think our manager at that time, who had it, parang yung panahon na yun, Betamax pa ata or VHS.
Baka wala pa eh.
No, but he had it, he had it taped nga, because we watched it again when we went out for dinner, for a championship dinner. Just the players, just the team, you know, and you know, he set up the TV and then he put it, and everybody was watching the game again, diba? Yeah. So, but it was I can say it was a memorable moment. It was a very important part also in my basketball career. And, you know, up to today, even if we played, you know, Ateneo for that finals, practically everybody in the Ateneo team are friends of mine now. As we grow older, and some of us still touch base, and your lives cross again somehow, you know, and we appreciate, you know, and we can sit down and, you know, talk about it, maybe over, you know, a bottle of beer or something, and we'll just laugh about it, no?
Sino pinakamahirap na kabantayan niyo nung panahon niyo sa NC, Mr. Chito? Was it Steve Watson? Was it Limeng Beng? Siyempre, ibang pwesto niyo. Who gave you the hardest time?
Well, at that time, parts, I have to admit, my mindset really was not really focused yet on the defensive, part of the game. It was really more on an overall. No, it wasn't really more defensive. No, but I mean, we played against great players. Ateneo, you'd had Steve Watson, Joy Carpio, Padim Israel, Fritz Gaston, Eyo Puyat, Louis Rabat, all of these guys, Jerry
Lakas.
Versosa, magagaling lahat yan, pare.
Oh.
And with LaSalle again, when we played LaSalle, you had Kenneth Yap,
Kenneth Young.
si Jay Lucido, William Ting. There were also
Yeah,
and in Letran you had Mon San Juan, si Itoy
Ito
Esguerra,
is Guerra.
Bong Aninyon. They were also fantastic players, and they made a name for themselves as they went to the commercial league. No? But I guess during that time, you did not really focus on just one aspect of the game. You really had to play all the positions,
Right.
and you'd have to contribute to the team in all of the areas or all the departments of the game. I more or less focused on defense when I got na to the PBA.
Okay na.
And again, my own view in the PBA is you have to continue learning some and specialize on something of the game so that you can stay longer, because if you're just one dimension in the PBA, sandali lang yan, and then some young guy will come in and who will be quicker, who can jump higher, who can mawawala ka na ng papel
Right.
after a
Right.
while.
Right. Agree.
Go ahead, Sid.
Chito, this was the height of talaga the Ateneo San Beda rivalry. It's always been Ateneo Lasal. Pero yung 70s na yun was really Ateneo San Beda. How did the San Beda players take it when Ateneo left? Parang, oh my gosh, our great rival is now gone. What's going to happen? May ganun bang feeling nun?
Yeah, of course, and we felt also sad that they had to leave, But again, during those times, you just have to accept, and realize that it was the decision that the school made, and then the school also, again, see, Father Cruz said that, again, my understanding is they just don't want to tolerate any violence, particularly in a game of sport, So we understood, and we missed it because again the rivalry of Ateneo goes all the way back even during my father's time. Remember when they won the Zamora Cup? It was Ateneo and San Beda again during that time. So it goes way back. So when they left, of course it was sad. But you just have to live with reality, that they moved already from to another league, and refocus ourselves, and we had LaSalle and Letran to deal with, again, and after a year or two, I think LaSalle also decided to leave, Again, dahil Letran na
Letran naman,
Letran Lasal naman ng and
Masagad ang kotse yun.
And then again, but it's unfortunate, that it reaches to that to that point, and you'd have to understand the school, it's an academic institution, and it's their decision. And they have their principles and values that they have to keep intact. And in a game of sport, you have to respect. If you lose, you have to accept and if you win, you also have accept the victory with humility, diba? But it was a school decision. It's sad, but if you notice, even after they left, there were always attempts to have some goodwill or fundraising event that they wanted to put together between whether it's Ateneo, LaSalle, or San Beda, and it doesn't matter what sport it may be. I've seen efforts being taken even in the golf course where you have all these people alumni from the school trying to do something, But and it goes all the way back, and there are good memories, and of course, there's still a handful of bad memories, but you just have to live with it, and you just have to move forward, no, and
Mm.
and use that as a basis and as a learning curve on not to repeat whatever mistakes you did during that time, no?
May nanonood nga palang isa mo pang fan, nagngangalang Bernard Fabiosa.
Uy,
Nanonood
si
ngayon.
Parang Bernie, oo.
Oo.
Salamat, Parang Bernie.
Oo. Since, tanong ko lang sa San Beda, sining, di ba, I'm sure magkaka-roommate kayo dyan, may mga, when you travel, sino yung pinaka naging kadikit mo sa grupong yun sa San Beda?
Well, honestly, I used to hang out with Chuck and Frankie.
Mm.
Mas but ano na yun, individually, and again, because nga of geographically, our houses were close to each other, di ba?
Yeah, yeah.
Oo.
But ganun lang yun, eh. And then of course, we were in the same year level.
Mm.
And then of course, the others kasi, I mean, when we were inside the campus, we would hang out, in a larger group, no? But when we were outside already, iba na yung kasama namin, ano? I mean, kaming tatlo madalas ang kasama. Because as we left Sambeda, we also went together and played for the Eco team, no? Yeah, for
Sa
the
Mika.
Elizalde, sa Mika, no? For the Elizalde company. Yeah, so we were together there, no? Others had other directions in life. Some did not continue their basketball careers. Sorry, and I must include even JB Yango joined us in Eco then. So there were four of us actually that went to play for Eco in the Mika.
You had a fairly successful university or college career that you got recognized already, and then fortunately you were able to make the Philippine RP team pa yung tawag ng
Yan,
panahon
the
na yun.
next.
RP
Yeah.
team. So aside from playing with Eco, which is a very successful team as well in the Mika, you also played for the Philippine team. How was that like? How was that experience? How many Philippine teams did you actually play in, and how was it for you?
Honestly, I have to admit the most successful and the happiest perhaps Philippine team that I played for was my first ever, no? Which was the RP youth team. I think I can say that because we played together longer. As you stay together longer, not only do you develop your relationship with them in the court, but you also develop the relationship outside the court.
Right.
And the longer we stayed together, the more we appreciated each other. No? And at that time, it was 1978. Wow, that's a long time ago. Yeah, and I'm sure we started practicing even maybe a year before, no? At that time, our head coach then was Turo Valenzona,
Correct.
Roel Nadurata, and Sid Guerrero.
Okay.
And they were a great coaching staff. They would treat us like equal. I mean, though they had the experience and the wisdom, but they also let us make our own discarte when it came to what to do inside the court, no? And really, I enjoyed the company of everyone. I mean, everyone. I don't know if I can recall everyone's name, but from
Mamaya, may mga pictures tayo na ipapakita about that national team.
But yeah, of course, our guards then was Hector Calma, Marte Saldana,
Right.
Bay Cristobal. And then, of course, the guys from Sambeda that were with me really was only JB Yango, no, and myself. There were more FEU guys, Rad
Yeah, yeah.
Pasco, Ray Lazaro, and then Marty Saldana and By Cristobal. No, were all. So we had a great time because we won the championship for the Philippines in 1978, and the Philippines was hosting that
home court
that
pa tayo.
championship
Tama.
home court.
That's right.
And
You
we
even
played in,
beat China.
yeah, we beat China. And I remember clearly that and siguro that was the I was so happy to see my father. Parang my father was so proud about that game, because we won, Parang you know, as I said, di ba, I block off everything, but I was in Araneta playing, and I can see him standing, shouting, putting his fist up in the air, and parang, okay, okay,
Siyempre.
siyempre, di ba? So siguro that was my first international stint, di ba, for the Philippines. So he was so proud. He was a very proud father at that time. And that was a great experience, And the nice thing about it is that after we won that, so the victory qualified us to participate in the World Youth Tournament. So the following year, that same team went to Rio de Janeiro, and we played in the World Tournament. And of course, pare, you're playing in the World Tournament. I mean, you don't really believe that you're going to win against America, against Brazil, against
yeah.
but again, because of the camaraderie that we've built against each other, we just had to make the most of it, no, and try our best. I think out of the 12 teams, if I'm not mistaken, we ended up 10th, I think, or something like that. I think we only won like 2 games, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But the whole trip was really a great experience for us. I mean, we were 20 years old, for a young player to go, going to South America, you'd have to pass through America and go down south, no? So for a 20-year-old kid who's playing basketball, and you see all this, and we were well taken care of pa during that time. Medyo spoiled pa kami ng konti because we had I'm trying to our manager was our
Mga fans natin tutulong. Mga fans natin tutulong dyan. Sino
our
manager ng
manager,
79?
si Mr. Dicini was our manager.
Mr. Dicini.
And then is it Boy no, not Boy Santiago. Toledo, no? Our team manager, who also came with us. Ang ano pa namin noon, ang trainer pa namin si Juan Cotillas, eh. Sumabay pa sa amin yun.
Football player.
So it was a great experience. It has helped me a lot also, and it's something really to cherish and treasure, no? Particularly at that young age. So that was the most memorable RP, Of course, there's the Beijing, no. The issue kasi I did not play in a lot of national. I wasn't able to represent the Philippines in a lot of international events, mainly because nag-PBA na kasi noong 1975, di ba?
Yeah.
So I only after my stint in that youth, pumasok na ako ng PBA. Pumasok na ako ng PBA. That was the next step already. So from Sambeda, nag-youth, and then nag-commercial league ng Mika, tapos PBA was the next And it just so happened that I was able to represent the country again in 1990
Right.
when they decided to put together that program where you'd have professional players in the PBA representing the Philippines
Tama,
for the very first time in an international competition.
That's right.
Mamaya natin pag-uusapan yan, Mr. Chito.
Original
Pero
dream team, ah.
oo nga, yung
Yeah.
original dream team. Yung question ko, di ba, pumunta kayo South America. I'm sure you're aware that in 1954, yung si Kaloy Loyzaga also went to South America. Tapos World Championship din yun. Nag-third place ang Philippines. So, did he give you any advice bago kayo sumakay na aeroplano? Pupunta ka rin South America. Tanda mo yung ginawa ko dati, ha?
No, actually, I was very aware of that. That this is my dad in 1954. He went to Rio de Janeiro and won there the bronze medal, and I'm going there as well. But even though it's not in Rio, it was in Sao Paulo.
Sao Paulo.
Yeah, I was also going to go there. Kinantsawan ko pa nga siya when I came back Sabi ko, Dad, you know what? Siyempre, you're in a foreign country. You really don't know anyone, And then I told him, when they called my name and I had to go there was a group shouting like that. Baka naman may iniwan kang milagro dun. Sabi ko, there was a group clapping their hands and shouting for me. Sabi ko, wala ka namang iniwan milagro doon, kako. Tawa siya ng tawa. Hindi, wala.
But speaking of following in your dad's footsteps, I mean, so that happened, that one, you played in South America as well. And then playing in ICO must have been something that you really felt, because imagine, he was the star of ICO. When you talk about ICO, you start with Kaloy Loyzaga, and all of a sudden you're also playing for ICO. How was that naman when you're wearing that uniform and then playing for the same company that he played for?
Number 14.
Yes. I mean, again, I was proud playing for that company. I mean, my dad was, one of the pillars of ICO. And at that time when I joined, my coach then was my uncle Freddie Webb, Coach Freddie Webb, and that my dad and my dad was his coach when at one time after their after my dad retired from playing. Yeah, it was quite promising, and that was right after our Rio de Janeiro stint, we played for ICO that whole year when one whole year in Mika. At that time, it was the rivalry. Then was Mika in the Mika was ICO against Apcor.
Apcor, yeah.
Yeah, which was the Dicini group of companies, and you'd have again my fellow teammates were playing there, all the FEU guys,
Right.
Cristobal, Pasco, Lazaro. they were all playing there, and that was the rivalry then. Yoyoy Villamin was there, part of that as well. So there was 1 year, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it was the whole of 1980. It was a 1 year. It was, and we would play the finals in every tournament. It was just the two of us. And in 1980, it was ICO that won everything. All the tournaments for 1980, it was ICO that was championship. And then the year after, it was again Apcor and ICO again playing. But that year, it was Apcor naman that won everything.
Yeah.
So and then again, we practically played each other for 2 years, and then moved all the way, together again, seeing the same faces again as we moved to the PBA, but it was quite challenging. I mean, the Mika days then, marami talagang nanonood dun, and at that time Rizal Memorial was the Rizal Memorial pa, and every time I'd play in Rizal Memorial, of course, I can hear a voice behind behind me telling, "Oh, this is the place where your father played. And they
Ayan, ang
made a name
pinapakita
for
ni
himself.
Charlie.
And
Ano
made
yung
a name
pinapakita
for
ni Charlie there? Ayan na.
yeah, no, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and
This is from the book.
yeah.
This is from the book. Yeah, the big book.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well,
Oh,
we're going to we're at the midway point of our show, guys. So kailangan lang natin balikan yung mga pinag-usapan natin at the start. Of course, once again, this is an eternity of basketball, part of the Globally Ballin Network, and of course, part of the Globally Ballin Network. She's back. Cassie Gormley is back with her show Hang Time with Cassie G. And of course, yung kanyang bagong episode, kausap niya yung napakatangkad na si Cherry Nunag from De La Salle, Dasmariñas. That's her next episode, of course, with Hang Time in Cassie G. And that's also part of the Globally Ballin Network. So alam naman natin that the Globally Ballin Network deals with all sports from all around, all over the world. And you can check out the website www.globallyballin.com. You can also catch some of the stuff on YouTube, especially kami sa An Eternity of Basketball. If you're new to our page, we now have a link on our Facebook page to bring you to all of the previous episodes, all 65 of our, ganun pala karami, 65 of our previous episodes. And we will upload this episode 66 very soon. And of course, alam naman natin that we're also on YouTube and also on Spotify and everywhere already. So the Globally Ballin Network has taken An Eternity of Basketball to an entirely new level. And probably the next one that we want to share with everybody is Linktree/Globally Ballin. That links to everything dito sa Globally Ballin Network, including An Eternity of Basketball. So once again, we are still chatting with our special guest for today. Ang daming kwento galing dito kay Chito Loyzaga. And we do have a few pictures that we want to show. Of course, in 1981, pumasok na nga si Chito sa PBA as part of that YCO-Tanduay group. So I don't know if we have those pictures ready. Charlie, go ahead, Charlie.
No, I was going to say, it's that's the question. Is you had a good amateur career, college career. Then you entered the PBA. You said you finally decided it's time for the PBA in 1981, Chito. But you only played one game. What happened there? What's the scoop on that?
what's the drama? Well, anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
before I get there, this is the RPU team, the team that I played for. No,
Yeah.
you'd have there Marta Saldana, Oji Narvasa, Mondison. That's B-Boy Rabanes, and that's Ramas, no, Dodi Ramas on the picture. Anyway, going back to your question, partner. Yeah, we were all set. We were all set to play for YCO-Tanduay. As you said, I actually played one game. But unfortunately, there was a misunderstanding when it came to the contract.
Okay.
Because at that time, of course, the PBA was still very young, and normally before you play, they would offer you a contract, and you would sign the contract and then play in the PBA. But unfortunately, as you said, I already played one game, and I still didn't have a contract, and I still didn't sign anything with regards to the services that I'm supposed to render. No, and actually, there was supposed to be a second game that YCO was supposed to be playing, YCO-Tanduay, and the second game came, and I still didn't have a contract. And I said, what kind of professional league is this? I said, I'm supposed to be playing. This is a professional league. I don't still have a contract, and you want me to play again? So that, I mean, again, I went to my dad and I told him about it. And, my dad, knowing that he's part of the Elizalde company, said, of course, he didn't want to, how do you call this, interfere in whatever manner the team was being run. He had nothing to do with the team, even though he was an employee of Elizalde. And he just brought up the issue there to management, and then I had to deal with management, and I said, it's very difficult naman, di ba? You're supposed to be a professional team, you're supposed to be a professional player, and you want me to play, but I don't even have a contract up to now.
Bakit daw walang kontrata?
Yeah.
Again, partner, between you and me, I really don't have the exact reason why they haven't finalized it. But at the end of the day, what happened was, I think the matter reached all the way to top management and Don Manolo and then Elizalde, and he said, why don't give him the contract to sign, and then anyway, at the long story short, partner, the reason why I decided not to continue was, um, when it came to signing the contract, what was written in the contract was completely different to what we negotiated for. So
Ah,
teka, sabi ko, uh,
ba't
so
ganun?
sabi ko,
Oo.
with all due respect, sabi ko, if this is going to be how I'm going to be treated, sabi ko, di sorry na lang, di ba? I mean, I
Yeah.
will just and then again, and after that I went to Commissioner Leo Prieto na at that time,
Mhm.
uh, because again this is the PBA, so if there was any grievances, you'd have to go to the commissioner and explain your side, di ba? Because he saw you play, and then suddenly you're gone. So
Right.
you have to explain to his office what happened, di ba? So I had to go there. I had to explain to him this is what happened, and then I said, it's quite disappointing, but things happen, and perhaps things happen for a reason, and this is very unfortunate, but if this is
Yes.
the kind of management that I'm going to work with, I might as well not
Yeah.
play, and then maybe I said my one game that I played, I hope is not credited to as my rookie year, or whatever, no. And then he understood right away, no? And uh, Mr. Pietro said, "Oh, don't worry about it. Yeah, we understand. Yeah, so that's what happened." And then I
Yeah.
decided not to continue and to play for the team. And the contract supposed to be, and the negotiation was rescinded and not recognized by the PBA.
So paano yan? What did you do for that time until you resurfaced in 1983?
Well, ito na. Ito tayo magandang. That's why I said some things happen for a reason, di ba? Uh, uh, at that time, when it happened, okay, I have to go back a few years before that, okay?
Okay.
That thing happened in
81.
1981.
81 yun.
Correct, 81.
Mhm.
I have to go back a few years, and all the way back till 1976. Okay, in
Okay.
1976, my grandmother, meaning the mother of my father, Carmen Loyzaga, okay, and she was already an Australian citizen and based in Australia, and ever since 1976, she used to come to Manila during the Christmas season for holidays, because at that time it was very hot in Australia. That's their
Tama.
summer. That's their summer.
Right.
So she would come here every Christmas to spend her Christmas holidays. And when I say Christmas holidays, it's not 2-3 weeks. No, it's like 3-4 months. It's like from December all the way till March, like that. Or she will stay with the family, with us. No, so and every time she would come here. And when it was time for her to go back to Australia, since '76, my dad used to ask me, I'm a bit concerned about Lola traveling by herself. So since you ended school already, why don't you accompany her and then bring her back, and then you can meet your cousins and your uncles and who are there. So that was naman my summer treat after school. I would take my grandmother back to Australia, and then I'd hang out there for 2 months with my uncles, my dad's brothers, my dad's sister, and my cousins, and I'd get to know them. And all that time, so from 76, so I got to meet new people, and I also started to play basketball there with
Mm.
friends, being
Mm.
introduced to me by my dad's brother. So I'd play with them, and at that time basketball wasn't so big yet in Australia, but it was starting to develop. Uh, until I think 1980 or 79, which I don't know which one year was that summer. That when I played, there was a Sydney team that used to play Sydney competition, and the team coach saw me, the team manager, and he said, "Oh, geez, you play well. Sabi niya, why don't you play for our team? Anyway,
Okay.
you're from the area." I said, I wish I can, sabi ko, but I'm not an Australian citizen. I'm here only on holidays. And, I go back to the Philippines. Oh, no, sabi niya, oh, never mind. We'll find a way to make you stay. So sabi ko, sige, here are my contact information, and so we'll communicate, no? And see what will prosper with this opportunity. So anyway, to cut the long story short, balik na tayo ulit sa 1981.
Okay.
Nung nag-back out ako at I got the team that I was playing for, that I played for there in Australia, communicated with me and told me, "Oh, we were able to talk to the embassy, and we already got you a sports visa for you. You can come here and you can play with us. And you'll find a job, and will help you do that, and you can come here." So yun na nga, di ba? So sabi ko nga, there's a reason why things like this happen. So
Uh,
ako naman, so I deliberated on it. I talked to my father, I talked to my mother, to my family about it. Uh, I'm not doing anything. I'm not joining the PBA. Maybe let's have a look. Sabi ko. And because I enjoyed myself all those past years, seeing my other relatives that are there, I decided to check that opportunity and go there. So in 1991, I mean the PBA at that time,
1991, yeah.
yeah, the PBA at that time used to start early in the year, mga
January.
February.
Ah.
January, February yan, nag-uumpisa ng PBA, and 3 conference yan, di ba? So by April, I was gone of that year. I already went to Australia, and I stayed there for all the way till the end of '83.
Haba.
So I started playing there. Pare, you also play there. You're not playing against small guys. You're playing against tall guys. I had teammates that were also like 6'8", 6'9", 6'10". Sabi ko, okay ito ah. So
Ano,
for me,
guardia laro nyo o forward pa rin?
guardia laro ko, partner. Guardia.
Grabe.
So again, you had that opportunity, and I was very thankful. And then I stayed with my uncle, and then I stayed with my grandmother. I was able to get to know them, live with them. But at the same time, I still had the opportunity to sharpen the sport that I love, and play the sport that I love, which is basketball. No, so I would train. Oh, my uncle used to bring me to my practices, and he will stay with me and watch, and again, my uncle is also a weekend warrior din yan. Though he never played basketball professionally. He would he can understand the game, and he would also give me tips, and he'll give me he will also watch the opponents and tell, "Pare, mahina to sa ganitong gawin mo." He would give me tips, while he was watching, and with all due respect to him, I really had a great time when he was beside me, and I enjoyed every minute, and
Mhm.
the years that I spent with him. He was like my second father. He's the youngest he's the youngest brother of my dad. And I enjoyed that stretch, or that journey with him when I used to live with him, and we had good times, and it has
Mhm.
also helped me a lot. No? And
So,
again,
nag-i-import kayo
going
sa Australia. Nag-i-import kayo sa Australia tuloy for
yes,
over a year.
yes, I played I think at that time, it was just city competition. So the city of Sydney had different teams in different areas, and then you would play, no. On my second year, before I came back in 1983, only then na uh, only then did they start the National Basketball League, the NBL of
NBL,
Australia.
yes. 83 nga nagsimula yun.
Yes, yeah. Only then nag-umpisa yan. And again, I also talked to my coach. He said, "Hey, why don't you join us?" Sabi ko, "Coach, no, it doesn't make sense. I'm a very small guy, and they will consider me as an import, not an Australian." Sabi ko. So it doesn't make sense. You have to get a taller guy and a player from America for you to be able to compete at that level, no? So nanunood na lang ako. I sabi ko, I'm good already for city competition. There's no issue here. Okay, sabi niya gano'n. And then so again, my life there was completely different. So I would play, and I was working. I mean, literally working, technically working. I was working
Saan
for a
yun? Saan? Talaga?
company.
Ah.
Oo. And I'm sure you're all familiar. The big retail outlet Woolworths.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I used to work. I used to work for them. Not at a branch or a store, but I was working for them at their main warehouse and office building. Okay, and I was doing how do you call this, stock control or inventory control. Um, we were in the office, and I'd had certain lines that they would have in their department stores, in their and you would put the order, no, and depends whether the order was locally sourced or overseas sourced, no, and I would go there. I mean, technically, it was like a 9 to 5 job, and then after work, I'll go out and play,
Saya.
So
Saya nun.
masaya, completely different from my experience here in the Philippines, no. So ganon. I mean, for the next couple of years, I was enjoying myself, and until ano nga, until December of '82, when I after more than a year, and then I came back here for the Christmas holidays.
Tapos yun na nga,
That's
na-sign na kayo ng Toyota right after that. As we go back to the
that's
pictures. Oo.
that's when another twist in my life changed.
Ayun na nga. We'll get to that point in just a bit. So can we look at the next photo, Aaron, after this group of guys here? This was the San Beda, of course, San Beda days. You can see you're
Yes.
starting the fast break. Ayan si Frankie Lim sa likod nyo.
Yes.
Ready to pounce na kayo dito. Tapos, yun na nga, you were not really known as a highly athletic person, pero isa sa mga strengths nyo talaga dati pa, Chito, is yung rebounding nyo talaga eh. How did you develop this?
Well, practice, partner, every day. As I said, I had a basketball court in the house.
Right,
So,
right.
how to position yourself would be something that was taught to me by my dad. No, again, how to use your right foot and your left foot. And then you'd have to also look at the percentage of of where the ball is going to bounce.
Well, there's your mentor.
When somebody takes a shot, and from where the guy takes the shot from, and then you have to look at the percentage where the ball is going to bounce after the ball hits the rim in case it misses.
Right.
So he will tell you, certain percentage it will go in this area, certain percentage will go in this area, certain percentage will go in this area. So if you are in that position, you're better off. The higher percentage will be here, so you have to be here to get that ball.
May science involved din dyan eh.
Meron din siyang,
Eh,
may
the big
turo siyang
difference yung
ganyan.
nagtuturo eh. Di ba?
Nakabantay
Kaya nga
nga si
siya big
King
difference.
Galoy.
Oo.
So he would teach us, no, and depending on the bounds of the ball, no. Siyempre, pag
Well,
pumasok yun, wala ka na magagawa. Pero pag hindi pumasok, tendency mo dito pupunta. So you have to position yourself already in that area.
Well, of course, this is a very
you had an
iconic
advantage
picture.
because your dad was really a center, no? During his time, centro talaga siya. But ikaw, you had an all-around game. In fact, in the PBA annual, you're listed as a forward center guard. You're one of the few. Maybe it's Jaworski and you na linagay. Maybe Simon Fernandez pwede rin forward center guard. So there's a few players na kahit anong position. No? But in which position were you most comfortable playing?
I think, Charles, it wasn't really intentionally, but parang nag-evolve lang.
Okay.
When we started from high school, you were really more of a center, center, and then it moved to center forward when got into college, and then as I went before going into the commercial league, the Mika, it was evolving to wala na yung center masyado, it was more forward guard
Forward.
na, no?
Right,
Oo.
right.
Nagpo-forward guard ka na.
Yeah,
And then pagdating na ng PBA, andun na, nagpo-forward guard because there were other players now that were taller than you.
Yeah. And faster also.
And faster and jump. So nag-evolve. So
Oh.
that's why you have to. It's a completely talagang learning process. You have to learn other positions.
You were always
So
guarding the post. Pag depensa, nakasentro ka kasi sa poste ka. But then sa opensa, you're outside, perimeter ka naman. So
Shooting
parang
threes. Oo.
correct.
change ka eh. From play to play. Diba?
So this
Correct.
picture nga, you're wearing the YCO-Tanduay jersey. Was this the only game sa PBA ba? O may ka pa itong picture na to?
No, I think that was if I'm
The
not
lone
mistaken. Yeah, I think that was the lone game.
Yeah, kasi the headline is you finally break your silence. So
Yeah, there.
it's about, I don't know what happened to you.
Gilbis
Yes.
pa yata kalaban niyo dyan. Eh. Mukhang Gilbis yung uniform.
Gilbis yan.
Most likely, yeah.
Looks like the uniform of Gilbis.
So that's a very rare photo of you in an
Yeah.
It's a very rare uniform because it was used only once.
Yeah.
Oo. Maganda i-auction yan. Nandiyan pa ba yan? Baka i-auction natin.
And wala na, partner. I don't have any idea. I don't have any more uniforms.
Talaga?
Oh.
Sige, Aaron, let's look at the next photo. But this is a classic right here. And of course, you and Ernesto together in Ateneo, but of course, you were also magkalaban din kayo sa PBA dati. Tell us about yung relationship nyo dito with Joey nung nag-crossover na kayo to the pros.
Well, ano rin siya, it was a great experience. I mean, I think at that time, I don't know if we were one of the first brothers that played together. I'm not sure.
Guzman?
Meron na rin. There were a number already, pero iba eh. Iba yung kasikatan ninyo. Of course, being Loyzagas, and then you played for Ginebra pa. So,
Cause yeah, this was perhaps 1985 na siguro to. When
the one on the left, must be about mid-80s yan.
Because initially Joey kasi played for Magnolia. Magnolia. When I came back and I played my first year with Toyota, wala pa si Joey. And then after the Toyota stint for 1 year, I moved to Great Taste for
Right.
2 years, 84 and 85. And I think that's when Joey already came in.
Tama. Tama.
Because he was playing for Magnolia and then I was playing for Great Taste.
Paano nga pala yung nangyari, Chito, how did you wind up with Toyota after your stint in Australia?
Yeah.
Sabi mo, that's another twist in your life. That's a very interesting story right now.
Well, again, I was quite fortunate that I was given the opportunity to play for Toyota because at that time, the coach of Toyota then was Ed Ocampo, who was also a contemporary of my dad, and he wanted me to. He found out that I was here in Manila, and of course, nagre-recruit din sila ng mga players. So he asked me to come and join the practice. And then from then, dire-diretso na.
Did any other team
actually, no other team. Actually, I can remember clearly. The rookies at that time were Ricky Relosa, I think myself, Ed Cordero, I think even Tim Coloso.
Saldana and Terry Saldana?
And Terry Saldana.
They came in 82. They came in 82.
82 sila, yeah.
Sila.
Sa 83, last year na ng Toyota yun eh.
Yeah.
So ganun lang nangyari. He found out nga that I was in town already and that I had planned to stay. And, di ba, meron kasi silang din nun, drafting eh. Di ba? But at that time, since nila is recruitment, kung makaka-recruit ka ng player na not going through the draft.
Free agent ka na nun eh.
Actually, 85 pa talaga yung draft. Before
85
that,
yung draft.
bara-bara, unahan kayo.
Pero what was it like then, Chief, na playing with the likes of yung Mon Fernandez, Francis Arnaiz, Arnie Tuadles, Robert Jaworski, di ba?
Partner, sa akin, honestly speaking, it was a dream come true for me, because when I was younger, I really more followed the Toyota team, though I also like and loved the way Chris Pap used to play at that time. Remember, that was the rivalry for so many years.
Right.
But you can see talaga naman the talent of the players on both sides. And you, as a basketball player, you really admire both of them. But my is paminsan nga mas underdog pa nga ng konti yung Toyota. Talagang you can see naman how dominant Chris Pa was there with all the talent. So you as a player, you would want to join the underdog. So when I got that opportunity, wow, sabi ko, I'm now part of the Toyota team, and I was so lucky that I made it, and to play with the likes of sina Jaworski, Fernandez, Arnaiz, Tuadles, Abby King, lahat yan, well, I accepted my role and learned, and that was a learning experience for me. And I just had to take everything in stride, Did not complain, did not do anything, just go through it, diba? And learn.
Pero bitin din kasi nag-fold ka agad yung Toyota. So what was it like for you na ang ganda na nasamahan nyo rito tapos biglang nawala?
Not only that, partner, even my playing career was bitin because I think on the first conference, during one of the games, I fractured my hand, and I did not play for quite some time. So, I was part of the Toyota team, and I was in a cast for so long, or half the year. And I was only able to play na lang, I think, in the third conference. And then after the third conference,
wala na.
Suddenly, malaman mo, nag-fold up na.
Yeah.
So again, it it was sayang kung sayang talaga. But again, maybe it was the signs of the times, I guess. Um, but it was a great experience, and it was also. I mean, sa akin, ang laking experience mo yung kalaban mo yung Crispa, and these are the two rival teams, and you're there
Tama.
in the gym, di ba?
Yeah,
In the
yeah.
court, di ba? That feeling, di ba? Wow, all these people watching, punong-puno yung Araneta.
Tapos
Bahagi
babatero
kayo.
si Freddy Hubalde, sakit sa ulo. No?
Oh. Pare, I mean, they were spectacular, the players, whether it's Freddy Ubalde, Bernie Fabiosa, Atoy Ko, Philip Cesar, Abed Guedad. Ang gagaling lahat niya mga yan.
Yeah, yeah. And then the younger guys were there already. But
Ang
sila
gagaling
Padim
lahat.
were there pa rin, di ba?
Ang gagaling lahat yun, boss.
Uh,
Sobra.
Sobrang galing ng mga yun.
but then,
That year, 1983, was known as yung papasara na nga yung Toyota at that time, Chito. But the people were already have talked about it, and we're talking about it back then, that there was already some sort of rift going on in the locker room between Jaworski and Fernandez. Did you feel that? Ramdam mo ba yun during that that year with Toyota? Was it really tense in the locker room?
I guess I did not feel it. What I'm saying is that yung actual na meron wala naman ako nakikita, but you can sense ba, because I mean, again, there were situations that the whole team is there and say there's no Jaworski, or the whole team is there, or there's another and there's no Fernandez. And, and so you would, I mean, you would ask, nasaan si ganito or nasaan si ganon?
What's going on?
But then again, I also feel that maybe a lot of people, and particularly the press, I mean, also took it out of context masyado, di ba? Again, at that time, I mean, again, I really don't have any knowledge because that was only my rookie year. No? If there was anything between them before that, no, so I'm not privy to that, no.
Yeah.
But I can say in that year that I was with both of them, maayos naman sila. I mean, there was a time that I sat in the coaster with both of them together there, and we had a very good conversation. So ang ano ko naman kasi paminsan kasi of course both of them have their own private lives, no, and and again they also have a reputation to live up to, diba? But as a rookie watching them, wala naman talagang, I mean, I did not feel any bad blood naman talaga between both of them, no? Should there be any misunderstanding, which is very normal in any team, sometimes you have different opinions, different approaches, and you just have to move on and go forward. Team pa rin kayo. You're in the same team. You just have to do adjustments. No? But nothing naman na masasabi mo, no.
Hindi nagkasagutan yung mga ganun. Wala ka napansin na ganun.
Wala. I mean,
Cold War yata.
No experience at all. No experience at all. And again, as I said, I mean, at that time kasi our normal practices were in Das Marinas in San Agustin Gym, no? And we had our team quarters in Bel Air, and there were times both of them were there, Sani used to, I mean, he has his own private life and he has his own businesses, and he would be perhaps busy with all of that during the day, but I would see him sometimes come just right after lunch and would take a nap before he goes to practice, and Mon Fernandez as well, who I think at that time used to just live across the street in Palm Village, and he would come from his house, no, and instead of bringing his car, he would come to the quarters, which is just across the street, and ride with us to go to practice, no? So fairly normal naman, ano, no? Again, nothing out of the ordinary, no? Ganon. Yan
Yeah,
Well,
but
kanina.
when Toyota folded, lumipat nga kayo dito sa Great Taste. And I'm looking at this picture right now. Ang dami pang Hall of Fame dito sa picture na ito.
Yeah.
I mean, this was another
sobrang lakas
fantastic.
ng team na yan, ha?
Sobra.
Oo.
Ayan, si Sid. Great Taste fan yan si Sid.
How did you end up with Great Taste, Chito, after Toyota folded? Did you
Kasi
get
some of them went to Beerhausen, some of them went to Gilby's. How come you ended up in Great Taste?
Okay,
Yeah.
again, there were, I mean, again, the issue there was they were going to have the whole franchise bought by Beerhausen, and they wanted all the players to be there. Unfortunately, some of the players didn't want to join the whole transaction. I mean, they wanted the opportunity to choose where they would want to go, and there were four of us who said they wanted to play somewhere else, which was Jaworski, Arnaiz, Twadles, and myself. And we said, and they said that we didn't want to join the whole transaction. Okay, and then of course there were also question marks, because then the transaction would be affected if we were not all there, no. But anyway, to cut the long story short, again, we're not privy to it. Maraming negosasyon yan, yung mga top management of the different PBA teams, no. But anyway, to cut the long story short, they decided that, okay, to move things forward, this is what happened to Beerhausen, and the four of you cannot also play in one team. You have to play separately. So Gilbis or the Ginebra group or the La Tondena group got Jaworski and Arnaiz, and then the Great Taste group, which is Robina, Universal Robina, got me and Tuadles. So ganun na naging breakup nun. And again, that's top management negotiating amongst themselves. Now, again, perhaps they wanted to create parity also in the league. So parang there's one. So that's what happened at least in the next 2 years. No? And Arnie and myself, we signed up for Great Taste for 2 years, and we played. And this is the team that you're looking at. And this is a great team, with Joel Banal, Ricky Brown.
Yep.
I was able to Manny Victorino. I had Frankie Lim again, who I played with. Jimmy Manansala. Who else did we have? Ponky Alolor. Even Box
Jimmy Mariano, yung coach.
Box was there 84, Joy Carpio.
Joy Carpio. Ayan. So
Powerful team.
We won 4. I mean,
4 straight.
4 straight. I mean, 4 straight. Twice in 84, second and third conference, and then first and second in 85.
4 straight
walang Grand
champions.
Slams. Walang Grand Slam, pero 4 straight.
4 straight.
Iyak si Sid kasi hindi ka Grand Slam.
The Great Taste fan kasi ako. After Toyota disbanded, I shifted my loyalty to Great Taste. Pero Chito, it was around this time na you started, started guarding imports. I remember ka sa 85, ikaw yung inutusan ni Baby Dalupa na magbantay kay Dennis Still. I remember that. How did that come about?
No, yeah.
I
I must say that this is where I realized all of that, and this is where everything started. I mean, looking at the team itself, we had powerful shooters there, and really at the end of the day, I had to focus on something, a department of the game where I can contribute to the team, no. And one of the things that I discovered was being more there defensively for the team. So this is where I started to really study and evaluate and look at the games of all the other players and make an evaluation and look at their weak points, their strong points, and dyan nag-umpisa lahat yan, you know, and that's where Baby Dalupan also appreciated my effort, and you know, I understand. He gave me the opportunity to play, but really to play more a defensive role than an offensive role. I can't forget that. There was there was one instance in a game, you know, and you know, I will remember this until forever na to, because it was only Baby Dalupan who told me that, oh, Chit, wag mo na pakialam yung pag-shooting mo. I need you defensively. But itong pinakagawin mong ano, so you know, and you know, sometimes during the game, pare, your other four other teammates are being guarded, and you're there, you have the ball, and you're free, and you know, simply you'd have to choose to shoot or not to make the shot, di ba? Or take the shot, di ba? So I guess that was one game that I took more than one shot, and in one time, wag mo nang anuhin yung
Napagalitan pa.
But again, I took it, you know, I mean, I wasn't mad or anything, no, I mean, I actually, you know, it actually sounded funny pa to me, you know, say, you know, I knew kasi na, ano, it wasn't really my role, you know, and then for me, after he said that, oh, napansin pala ako, sabi ko, so sinabihan ako, say, okay lang, sige, no problem. But yeah, so this is where I started playing defense, and this is where I learned how to play defense, and I started to playing again Dennis Steele, Jeff Moore, and other players of even even the local players like Mon Fernandez, Abet Gidaben, you know, the other players that the year after this one, I think that's when we also had Abe King. This first year, I think this was 84.
Yeah,
in
84.
In 85, we had already Abe King joined us. No?
Lumakas pa lalo.
So those were the other players that I started reviewing and studying, and dun na nag-focus, even guarding imports already, dun na rin nag-focus, and from that time on, dun na nagsimula yan.
Tuloy-tuloy na yung defensive team mo, no?
Being part of the defensive team started from
85 here. Onwards yan, 85, 86, 87, 89, 90, 91, 92 yun. Tuloy-tuloy na yan
Tuloy-tuloy na yan. So it was an aspect again. I also have to inject here that there were tips that my dad used to tell me, and he would make me realize, that I said this is an important part of the game. And not everybody is focused on it, and you're good on it, and do it and learn it and execute it properly. And he would also advise me. He'd look at other players and tell me, oh, this is his weak point. Oh. He uses his left foot or his right foot, and when he drives, he has to bounce the ball before or he things like that.
Great case of a very, very, very successful 2-year stint, no? Imagine, 2 taon, naka-4 na championship ka, di ba? Parang sobrang tindi. But of course, despite how successful the Great Taste stint was, most fans now remember you because of your team after that, which became your last team in the PBA, which is Ginebra. You moved on to Ginebra in 1986. You joined that team. You guarded this guy, JB Yango, nahirap bantayan. Mahirap bantayan yan. All Filipino. They beat you that year in 86. But so you're playing against your former team. But Ginebra really, so you're reunited with Jowo. How did you end up there? Were you recruited as well?
No, I mean I honestly made paalam to Mr. Ignacio Gotao, the manager of the team.
So may
And
contract pa kayo sa Great Taste sana.
I was supposed to renew
Okay.
to him with him, and I asked his permission, and I said I will not be happy if I stayed here, even if I want. Thank you very much, I'd be happier if I moved on to somewhere else, diba? It was also a desire 2 years ago for us to play together, and this is an opportunity. So,
You
ganun.
ni Joey, ano? Meaning kayo ni Joey, yung
Sorry.
playing together. When playing together, when you said playing together, you're referring to you and yourself and Joey playing together.
No, when I say it was me and Arnie Tuadles, because the four of us were together, di ba? So at that time I told him that I'd want to play with them also. So
okay, sorry.
nagpaalam ako. But I think at this time, I think Joey also, if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to recall. When I moved, I think Joey also moved to Ginebra.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Did you plan that? Nag-usap kayo na let's join Whiskey?
Yeah. It was discussed. It was discussed, but not really strategically planned. But parang bypass. I'm moving to Ginebra. Why don't you move? Let's just play together.
Ano yun? Nag-jack and Poy kayo kung sino magpo-14 kasi 41 ang naglanding sa inyo eh. Siya yung nag-14.
I already I already told him. I mean, hindi wala nang jack and Poy. Sige, I already accepted na he liked the 14, so I gave it to him, and I'll stick to 41.
Okay. Do you remember this game when you guarded JB Ango? He scored 40 points in that game. So he's a really good player, no? But do you recall that?
Well,
Charlie naman Toyota fan. Just to let you know, si Charlie naman Toyota fan yan. Ay, sorry, Tanduay fan. Tanduay fan naman yan.
I can recall him having a great night against me. But to remember the game per se, I can't remember the game anymore. No? But
he ended up.
He was like the MVP. Yeah, he was the finals MVP. I was just gonna say that, and they won again.
Alam ni Chito na Tanduay fan ako. Alam niya yun. Dahil sa
But yeah, so yeah, after my stint with Great Taste, it was now Ginebra, and that's where we really flourished, no? And again, and I brought my expertise in defense to the team.
That's right.
Again, with the hope of still learning more aspects of the game. I want to bring something to the attention of everyone here.
Yeah.
Remember, the rules in the PBA were completely different from the rules today.
Correct.
So it was very difficult to play under the rules. That you couldn't play zone, not the way people play zone today. Yeah, you have illegal defense, and then you're not supposed to be so much far from the person that you're guarding, because they'll call you a technical, or and there are like you'd have to put imaginary lines on the court because you can only stay in certain parts of the court. I mean, it made really things more difficult instead of just playing the game, diba? So you had to absorb all of this, and at the same time go out and try to play your best, diba? And again, it was quite challenging, not just for me, but practically all the players, diba? Because everybody wants to win, diba? But ang hirap nun, partner, ang hirap compared to how the rules are today. If the rules were the same during our time, siguro mas masaya nun.
Oo nga eh. Gusto ko lang tanong, of course, in 1990, so you're still part of the team in 1990, Ito na yung famous walkout ng Ateneo against Shell, So,
yes.
do you recall anything from that game, nung championship na yon? I don't know if we have that, if we have a picture of that, pero I'd just like to ask about that. Of course, yung relationship niyo rin with Sonny Jaworski. But in 1990, do you recall that game?
Yeah, well, I can recall that game, no? Sylvester
Gray.
Sylvester Gray.
Sylvester Gray, Sylvester Gray yung ano namin no. Again, I guess everything. I mean, I think maybe there was more frustration also. That's why I guess si Coach Sani and si then manager Ber Navarro decided to walk out. I'm an athlete, diba? And I like to finish and how do you call this? Win in the court, no, not outside the court, diba? I'll just charge that to history, though. It's something perhaps that I would have rather lost in the court, and gain the respect perhaps of everyone, our fans, and I mean, if we didn't make it, then we didn't make it. It wasn't our time. It wasn't our year.
Yeah.
And you also have to give credit to Shell, who perhaps woke up, on the right side of the bed, and they were all playing spectacular, from Bobby Parks and Ronnie Magsanok and Benji Paras and some of the other role players. Unfortunately, again, the breaks of the game didn't go for us, and perhaps there was some frustration, we were hoping that that conference was for us, because we had a good import in Sylvester Gray, and to just make it to see it disappear, parang was quite frustrating, no? But again, me charge na lang that to history, again.
But if the choice were yours, you would have stayed to play.
Yeah, I mean, again, and it doesn't matter. I mean, and it's not. I'm not even in particular on that on that game itself.
Yeah.
Me as a sports person, I might as well deal everything and accept everything in the court, in the playing field, and whether you win or lose, you're a sports person. You accept it, and just move on, because if I lose, that gives me more motivation to come back and play better. Diba? If it's something outside that, parang I'm not used to it. Diba? Parang
Totally understand what you're saying.
In my mindset, it's like this. And kung talo, diba? And accept, diba? And you congratulate the other person, diba?
Yeah. Well, of course, also in 1990, Chief, you're also selected, as you mentioned earlier, to that first ever professional team na pinadala nga sa Asian Games in 1990. Actually, nauna kayo sa Dream Team. Kayo yung original Dream Team noong time na yon. But a lot of people, of course, are always bringing up the game against North Korea. Probably see that photo already of that national team next, Aaron. There you go. That national team na talagang weeks lang kayo nag-prepare, pero against North Korea, ikaw yung naging superstar ng team na yon. When you had to go up against the 7'8 center na 7'8, 7'9 yata, yung height ni Ri, yung sentro nila. Yeah. So what was that like? Sinabi ni Coach Sani, Chito, sa'yo yan, ha?
Well, again, with all the experience that we learned from the PBA, I was able to use it during that time. Of course, with some additional secret techniques on how to guard somebody in international tournaments.
Kinikilitin mo yung gano'n.
Ganon. Parang ganon, kinikilitin mo. Nagpapakilala ka lang ba? Hello, ganon. Hello. Nagpapapansin lang ako, di ba? Para sa akin ka nakatingin, hindi sa bola. Hello, ganon.
Sagot ako na sagot ng Koreano no?
Kawawa talaga sa iyo, hindi nakaporma eh.
No, and wala, partner. If you were there, standing beside him, I couldn't. It would be very difficult, really. I wouldn't even reach when he got the ball with his hand up in the air. I can't even jump and tap the ball. He was really tall, so I had to use my physical ability and some innovations. Diba?
Innovations which will remain unsaid.
Innovations yan.
Watch the video.
I had to think out of the box.
Pero ano reaction na sinabi ni Coach Sunny Chito sa iyo yan? Anong una mo naisip?
Hindi. Tanggap ko naman eh. Yes, Coach. Sige, gagawin ko lahat ng makakaya ko. Pero hindi ko sinabi sa kanya mag-i-innovate din ako, di ba? Akin na lang
yan. Nag-i-innovate din siya.
I think he would have been proud of what you did.
Yeah. He was.
Actually, it was Siri, and then the other tall guy of Japan. I can't remember his name. But he was like 7'2" or 7'3". Ganon din. You'd have to guard and innovate when you guard him. But yeah, that was a great experience, and we were fortunate enough that because we were PBA players and we played now for so many years and we have that experience. And medyo kumbaga sa sabong nga may mga tahid na kami, medyo matanda na kami sa laro. And when you look at the other players who were very young at that time, kukonti pa masyadong experience. So pwede ka nga mag-innovate sa kanila on how to play the game, di ba?
Right.
Without of course hurting anyone, di ba? So at that time, we were lucky. I mean, if there was another aspect, because people also have asked me, anong ginawa nyo? Sandali lang kayo nag-training, tapos ang ganda ng, we had players in the team actually that were or also had experience playing for the national team 4 years earlier. In 1986.
Yeah, sila Kaidik.
And that's Kaidik, Samboy, Hector, Dignadice, di ba? Alvin Patrimonio, lahat yan. And your knowledge of international rules for them was still very fresh. So they just shared shared it with us, no, dahil kami medyo matagal na kami nasa pro. So they shared with us, this is how you're supposed to play it, So yung experience nila, they were able to share it with us and gave the team more flexibility in understanding how you play internationally, no? Because the PBA at that time had completely different rules. They're not international rules. So we had to adjust. We had to adjust to the international rules. And their experiences as players of the national team 4 years ago helped us understand and appreciate and be able to execute our game plan properly.
Right.
So
that quite an experience. Grabe, that team. I'm looking at the photo right now and it gives me goosebumps looking at that squad.
Yung number 24, kung naglaro yun, sure gold tayo, no?
Sino
Norman Black.
Speaking of numbers, Chito, I read a story about this team. You actually asked Hector Calma daw if you could be the one to wear 14 Kasi because your dad also wore it for the national team. Kasi 14, pareho kayo ni Hector na 14 sa PBA.
Pati si Jerry Cotenera, bago magka-HEPA, 14 din dapat yung numero niya. Pero lahat nag-default nga sa inyo.
Correct. Oh, I asked that from Hec.
Seniority.
I asked it from Hec. And I'm so thankful that he allowed me to he gave me that opportunity. That was the only team, national team that I wore that number 14.
Okay.
You see Bong Alvarez and Nelson Aceitono there also.
If I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to remember what number I used during my RP youth team. But I think 14 was Hector then. At that time, nung RP youth, magkasama kami, siyang 14. So, kaya hiningi ko naman sa kanya, partner, sama naman tayo. Ako naman ngayon ng 14.
Okay.
Pero okay. So, but that was, again, that team won the silver medal sa Asian Games. It was still the highest finished of the Philippines since, I believe, 1974 yata yung last time nating nag-gold, yeah.
Right.
So, well, very, very historic nga, all-pro. Yan ang original dream team. Do you have another photo to share?
Meron pa ba?
Yeah.
Championships.
One of the 7 championships, of course, 3 championships with Ginebra, the Latodenia franchise. So, mukhang mabigat to.
Yes.
This is the 91 championship.
Ito yung Rudy Distrito game winner, yan ba yan? Yan ba yung Rudy Distrito?
Sa Ultra yan eh.
Yeah, that's right. And then, well, funny, you mentioned Rudy Distrito already. I have a question, Sir Chito. Diba, in 1985, you got into a scuffle with Rudy Distrito. There was something that happened and all of that. Then he joined your team in Ginebra a few years later. Did you ever talk about it? Was there some tension? Or okay na kayo by that time?
No, it was okay. Okay na kami by that time, Okay. Wala nang kaso noon. But I think the scuffle that happened during the game really was we were both surprised nga. I mean, it was really something between B-Boy Ravanes and myself. And again, playing physical against each other, and to think that we played together in the RP Youth, diba? So we knew each other, and we knew that the abilidad of each other. But at the end of the day, we were both surprised how Rudy Distrito got into the picture. So, my own opinion lang is maybe he looked at the situation and he probably misunderstood the situation, and he came running and furious and mad, and and between, I think, B-Boy and myself, I think we were just at the point of saying, "Paano, sobra ka naman, wag mo na yung naman, wag naman ganyan, di ba?" Or we were, I mean, not to the point that we were gonna box each other or anything, but when Rudy came in the picture, so we were.
Yung ba yung involved si Joey? Yung ba yung away na involved din si Joey bigla?
Yes,
din yun, di ba?
Yes. Oh.
Even King Kaloy was there.
Yeah. So
Joey and Rudy were teammates pa nun, di ba? Pero siyempre Joey took your side.
Correct. And I think, I don't know if Rudy and Joey had a scuffle and then or some misunderstanding, and that's when my dad came in, and because both of them were on the same team. So parang why are you arguing and fighting against each other? You're in the same team. Anyway.
So this is
the 3 Loyzaga boys were on the court at the same time.
Charles the history again.
Pero ito yung 91 championship, ito yung revenge game against Shell Kasi nga, the year before, di ba, nag-walk out kayo against Shell, and then Rudy Distrito hits the game winner in Game 7.
Yes.
At ang dami yung memorable din dyan na, na offensive highlights naman sa PBA. Actually, we're talking to Dante Gonzalgo about that game against San Miguel. Naalala nyo yun, guys, na down 8 ang Ginebra, tapos nakadalawang 3-pointer yung Loyzaga, tapos nag-mintis yung Dignadation ng 2 free throw, tapos biglang game winner.
Tapos game winner si Dante.
Dante Gonzalgo,
Yeah.
Pero hindi makakahabol yun kung wala yung 2 3 points yung Loyzaga.
Ako ba yun o si Joey?
That's what they say about
ikaw yun.
Diba, that's what they say about you, Sir Chito. You do what's needed to help your team win. Whether it's shooting threes, if you need, if it's defending. So that's the type of player that you were, and that's what everybody remembers about you. No, but what do you remember? What was your best PBA game? Do you have one game that stands out that you
Yeah,
remember?
I'm sure there are a few, but I get a thrill and I get excited when you're there winning the game-winning shot.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I cannot recall, but I'm sure I had a few. That
Meron yan.
diba? Ikaw ang or you spark the rally somehow, as kamukha
Yeah,
nga
yeah.
sabi ni Noel, diba?
Against San Miguel.
You shoot 3 points, and then suddenly Gonzalo shoots the winning basket, diba?
Mhm.
Diba?
Those are at that time already, because you've been there for quite some time. You actually look for that challenge, lalo pa galing ka sa timeout, or kunyari you're down by 2, partner, I will be open for the 3. If none of you want to hit it, give it to me, I'm going to shoot it.
Tama. And on
Diba?
many occasions, ikaw nga yun. Pero in
Diba? So
1993, sorry, in 1993, you finally decide to retire. What made you decide to retire in 93?
in 93, there were a few. Actually, I still had a contract that I was supposed to sign pa. But there are a few factors that I had to consider, and one of the most important factor really is evolvement of the game itself. At that time, it was more a 2-man game, 1-man game, 3-man game. Yung marami ng isolation. Ang laro ng basketball noon.
Mhm.
And I wasn't trained for it. And in 1994, so na ako noon, 35 years old. So parang for me to learn another way to play basketball, parang masyado na akong matanda para. and I wasn't cut out for that kind of a game, di ba? I'm not your one-on-one player that can outmaneuver you and go for a layup, di ba? I wasn't trained and formed that way. So while the game was evolving, I decided nga na, teka, baka at my age now, it might be very difficult for me to make that necessary adjustment. So I had to consult a lot of people, no, which included my dad, and I had to consult with him and ask him, these are my thoughts, that's what I have in mind. What do you think? No, and one of the things that is very clear to me when he told me was, you evaluate and reflect on the career that you had, and the achievements that you had, and in sports and in any sport, should the time come when one wants to retire, you might as well retire while you're on top than you being at the bottom. Then you don't give anyone that opportunity to picture you while you're going down. The picture that you will share with everyone and that will remain in everyone's memory is when you're on top. So
Right.
that was one of the things that factors pala, no? Again, and that's not only that's not also the only factor. The other factor also as well was on my last year playing with Ginebra, and I have to thank si Mr. Bear Navarro and si Dr. Tony Concepcion of La Tondena. I was already at that early age. I was already looking at things to do after my basketball career. You know, and one of the things that was offered to me was an opportunity to be part of the Latondenya Corporation. And on my last year while playing, um, I was already undergoing a training process in corporate life. So
Mm.
I used to go to the office, the main office, and I would learn, no, the ins and outs of corporate life. No, I remember
Great.
we were selling Ginebra San Miguel and other beverages, and I was exposed there, no, for a year. That also contributed to my decision, you know, because at that time I was doing very well, and the company was very happy with my performance. That that also came into picture and made me decide that, you know, if I stop playing now, I can be part of the company, and then my corporate life or my life after basketball can start.
Mm. Yeah.
And that's also one of the decisions that was a factor to my deciding not to continue to play.
Yeah. Well, you were 34 years old when you walked away from the game. Batang-bata pa at the age of 34. But the PBA came back and honored you years later by putting you among the 40 greatest. You second batch, ano? Unang batch of 25 and then kasama na isa batch of 40. What was your reaction, Chief, when you were named among the 40 greatest players ng PBA?
Well, it was for me. It was a privilege. It was a humbling experience to be included in the, you know, list of great players of the PBA. I treasure that a lot. I know that you know, there are still some players that should be also part of that, that elite group. And I'm sure in due time, you know, they will be included.
Yeah.
But um, for me, that perhaps it was the highlight of my basketball career. No, to be included in the uh, list of 40 best players in the PBA. As I said, you know, it's a privilege and an honor, and I'm humbled by that award. And I cherish that award, and something that, you know, I'm proud of, that I have accomplished by myself, even though, ano, uh, behind the shadows of the great difference.
Great difference, right?
Di ba? Iba eh, di ba? I will never be able to reach what my father has accomplished, and in whatever small way, etong parangal na binigay sa akin, malaking pasasalamat ako. Pero hindi lang dahil sa mga kasamahan kong manlalaro, pero even to all the fans that went out there and cheered for us and supported us day in, day out, whether it was the games, whether it was the practices, or whether it was just a simple day that we spent together with the Ginebra team.
Right. Of course, alam
Every,
naman
every
natin. Yeah, go ahead, sir. Go
yeah,
ahead.
I mean, I have to acknowledge all of them, and they were all inspirations to me.
Yeah. Yung ano, but you were never far away from sports, of course, despite the fact that nasa corporate world kayo, you still went on to become athletic director ng National University. You were commissioner nga sa UAAP. Pero something that's actually very close to your heart na na-achieve mo later on was to be involved in the sport of baseball. And now you're the president of the Philippine Amateur Baseball Association. So paano nagsimula yan from being a basketball player, a basketball star, all of a sudden now, you're trying to rekindle a sport that has long been considered dead sa Pilipinas.
Well, alam mo, mahabang storya din yan, Noel. No? But I just want to point, you know, after 1986 kasi, the family moved to Australia already. So my father was not here in the Philippines anymore, no. And my mother as well, and some of my siblings, no. So if there was any other person that I would seek, advice, and who would always help me and with a lot of wisdom regarding decisions to make in sports, was really Mr. Moing Martelino.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He actually guided me to learn the different fields or the different areas in sports, no? um, and then that's when I had opportunities and I needed to make a decision. I would seek his advice, no? And that had to do with like being a commissioner in the Philippine Sports Commission, being a what's this UAAP commissioner, being an athletic director of NU, uh, and being even part of the Philippine Amateur Baseball Association, and even today as uh, as a member of the Philippine Olympic Committee Executive Board. I mean, I owe everything to him, no, and his advices to me on how to make a decision. He was a very close friend of my father, but ever since my father left, I would seek his advice all the time. Yeah, so um, Manak, sorry, Noel, can you throw me that question again
No,
that
no,
you
no.
wanted to ask?
Yung affiliation you with baseball, of course, being from a
Yeah.
football and basketball background. Actually, you were involved in football also for a certain time with Mr. Louis Kerulf, dun sa
Yeah.
binubuo niyong liga. But it was really baseball where you are now talagang more known as nowadays, So how did
Yeah.
that begin? How did your relationship with
Well,
baseball begin?
I already enjoyed the game since I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad used to bring me to, when he was a coach of the national team, he would bring me to Rizal Memorial, and I would walk to the other, I would walk across the street, and you'd see the baseball stadium of Rizal Memorial, and it was full of people watching the game. No? And I was thrilled and excited to watch that game. And when I was in grade school, I used to play softball as well in Ateneo. And I'd learned to watch it. No, I'm not an expert in understanding the game 100%, but there's a lot of what makes it very interesting for me is there's a lot of tactical components on the game, no, and it's really based on percentage, the game itself can change, in a split second, and really what fascinates me most is when you have the base coach giving you all these signs, and he's pointing in your ear, in your nose, in
Yeah,
your
yeah,
mouth,
yeah.
and you ask yourself, what the hell is he trying to say, di ba? So
Yeah.
it's quite I mean, if you look at it, I know it's quite long, but if you want to understand it better, it's really a very interesting game to learn. And yeah, so what happened kasi is I had a lot of friends in the baseball community, and unfortunately, when one of the baseball pillars, si Mang Hector
Hector
Navasero,
Navasero.
passed away,
Mhm.
they wanted to put somebody to run the association, and they were looking at again, and most of them really decided that if we need somebody who will run the association, we need somebody that really doesn't have any interest or self-interest, and is really there to promote the game. because most of my friends that were part of the game, had kids playing in this league, in that league, and the tendency is, instead of wearing the association cap, you tend to wear and be protective on your interests. So anyway, they asked me if I would take the task, and I said, they're very good friends of mine. And I said, yeah, sure, I'll help you put together and put some sense of order into it. But up to a certain time only, and then after that, I would give it back to you guys once we put everything together. But what we'll try to develop is, I said, let's put a framework together, and we'll get as much people as we can to get involved in whatever small way. And we wanted that, and we wanted to come all the way from the farthest end of Luzon to the farthest end of Mindanao, diba? We should be represented, and try to spread the Bible of baseball to everyone. So agreed naman sila. So that's what happened, and now I'm here, and we're doing a lot of things for baseball. And unfortunately, we were on a roll, and it was, the momentum was there, but we got hit by the pandemic, and we have to start from scratch.
May bawi yan because of the things that you've set up, the groundwork talaga. 2021 could be a banner year for the PABA and of course lahat ng sports of Philippines. At this point, Chief, Charlie has a bunch of questions ready for you. He has a segment here that we always have so much fun with. Go ahead, Charlie.
I have this segment. It's called X's or O's. I'm supposed to give you choices. You just tell me what your choice is. But before I start with my choices, I just need you to say maybe in a couple of sentences lang what your relationship with Sonny Jaworski is, and how it is he impacted your life, before I go into my X's or O's. I think we need to ask that.
Right.
Well, Sonny is like, it's like a big brother to me, my older brother. I mean, if there's any other person, perhaps in basketball, that I would seek advice, I would go to Sonny Jaworski and seek advice from him.
Yeah.
Tagal yung nagsama rin kasi, di ba?
Right.
So I guess
he turned 75. Coach Sonny turned 75 on March 8. So malapit-lapit lang kanyang 75th. No.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, kasi alam naman natin, yung ganda na samahan nyo sa first in Toyota, but that was very short-lived, and then the Hinebra days, of course, extended till the mid-90s already, di ba? So,
and he named you team captain, di ba? All those years you were the team captain of those Hinebra Añejo teams.
Correct.
Yeah.
And
so iba may pinagsamahan.
And again, I never got to play with his son, si Dudut, but between Dudut and Vince Hison, when they were in their younger ages, they used to come and practice with us. No?
Yeah.
While Sonny was still a coach, and after I left, and then that's when they played for Hinebra.
Yeah.
But today, again, I'm fortunate enough that I'm now working with another Jaworski. Which is the wife of Dudut Jaworski, si Mikey, and I'm working with her. I'm working with her in the Philippine Olympic Committee Executive Board.
Right.
She's a representative of the International Olympic Committee for the Philippines.
And we wish you all the best, para masumulong ang Philippine sports. Hopefully, once this pandemic ends, we get sports back. And we can move on with that one. But anyway, let's get into the X's or O's.
Okay.
Sir Chito, I'll give you a choice, and you just tell me which choice. No more explanations. Just choose. The first one, Bonnie Carbonell or Freddie Webb?
Oh, that's a hard one. I'll stick with Freddie Webb.
Okay, Freddie Webb. Okay, 1986 championship Hinebra, 1988 championship Hinebra, or 1991 championship Hinebra?
Tatlo na yun,
Tatlo agad.
Tatlo. Kailangan hindi pwedeng dalawa lang
I think 88, because that was all Filipino.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mon Fernandez or Sonny Jaworski?
Oh God, Francis Arnaiz.
Okay, I'll say that's a tie. I'll consider that a tie. PBA or MBA?
Oo nga pala. Nag-MBA commissioner din pala.
PBA or MBA?
Yes, PBA or MBA.
Oh, God. Another, Thai again, Thai.
Thai, okay. Thai.
Okay.
Don Ampalayo or Terry Saldana?
Oh, Don.
Don Ampalayo. How about this?
Don.
Bal David or Pido Harencio?
Oh. Sorry, Bal, but my compare Pido, I have to go with him.
Okay. Okay, this one. You mentioned one of them just moments ago. Vince Hison or JB Gayoso?
Oh, another. Are we talking basketball here or showbiz?
Laman si JB dun.
You can appreciate the choice however you want. Yeah, it's up to you.
No, I guess maybe I think Noel got it. If we're talking basketball, maybe Vince Hison. If we're talking pelikula, JB Gayoso.
Yeah, showbiz. Okay, Alvin Patrimonio or Nelson Asaitono?
Oh, Alvin.
Abit Kidaben or Manny Victorino?
Abet.
Abit Kidaben. Jericho Diniera, Benji Paras?
Jerry Cordillera.
Okay. Abi King or JB Yango?
Uy, hirap yan.
Ooh.
Parehong former Bedam teammates.
Tay.
Mahirap yun. Mahirap yun.
Okay. Hinebra under Palangka, Hinebra under Soriano, Hinebra under Coangco?
Oh. Are we talking my playing career or my corporate
Hinebra
career?
in general as you
Hinebra through and through. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Okay. Yan. Okay.
NSD.
How about this? The Black Superman or the Mighty Bucket? Bates or Hackett?
Oh. I'd go with the I'd go with Hackett.
Okay.
Hindi ako Chico eh.
Ito. Toyota fans or Hinebra fans?
Hinebra fans.
Hinebra fans. Okay.
Oh.
How about this? Rino Salazar or Arlene Rodriguez?
Rino.
Okay. Michael Ri Myun Hung or Shantao?
Oh.
Mas kilala niya si Rick, kinikiliti niya
No, as a
Michael.
player, I think Shantao
Was better. Okay. Basketball or baseball?
basketball.
Mahaba to, guys. Mon Fernandez or Benji Paras?
Mon Fernandez.
And then, this is the last. Jaworski's 58-minute game in 1986 finals or his game 4 of the 1988 finals when he scored 28 points and forced overtime?
I can't recall really both. So can we just call it a tie?
Call it a tie again. Okay.
Meron ka pa, Charlie. Hindi last yun.
Then the last one is the most important one for Noel.
Yes.
Nora
Not
or
for
Vilma?
me, for everyone.
Nora or Vilma?
Yes.
Vilmanian ako eh.
Vilmanian. Okay, we have another Vilmanian. So the running score is 6 for Vilma, 3 for Nora, and 3 ties sa ating Nora Vilma question sa XSRO. That's XSRO for today. Okay, that's it for me today. Noel, go.
Well,
Thank you.
Usually, I like to end my final question is, of course, you had a very splendid career sa basketball, 7 championships, 7 all-defensive team memberships. yung silver medal nga dun sa Asian Games in 1990, numerous championships as an amateur, pati na rin being named to the 40 greatest players in PBA history. How would you like to be remembered? Ano yung magiging legacy nyo? How would you like to be remembered as a basketball player?
Well, maybe I just don't want to be remembered as just a basketball player, but a sportsman that gave a lot of opportunities to athletes, not just for basketball, but for all sports. Today there are a lot of people involved in basketball, and I'm very happy that basketball is in good hands, and there's a lot of interest, and people support it a lot now. But there are a lot of other sports that also need its attention, and that a lot of our Filipino brothers also like to play. And I'm trying to just, with my position now with the POC, I'm just trying to give all our athletes the opportunity to be able to show their talent and support them so that they can excel in their competition and be able to perform to the best of their ability. It's complete. I mean, sports today is completely different from our sports maybe 30, 40 years ago. It's quite challenging. The time that you need to put in to perform at a very high level of competition is really demanding and challenging. And the support systems that you have to put in place for you to perform at that level is really also demanding. So I just wanted to, to be remembered like for someone. Though my love is basketball, he as a basketball player, he tried to, give and help other sports, or help elevate other sports, not just basketball. To a certain level where our Filipino athletes can perform and compete to the best of their abilities.
Thank you very much. Well said, sir. Sid?
Okay, Sir Chito.
Yes.
I usually ask our guests their 5 favorite teammates, but I'm gonna put a little twist this time. Since you were known as a great defensive stopper, so I'm going to ask you who were the 5 toughest players that you ever had to guard, and let's limit it to 3 locals and 2 imports, if possible.
Okay, 3 locals and 2 imports.
Yes.
Toughest to guard.
Toughest to guard. I'd say I'll put Alvin Patrimonio, even Nelson Asaitono, and Mon Fernandez.
Medyo mabigat yun.
And Mon will say one of the best defenders naman sa kanya si Chito.
He actually said that already naman talaga.
Dalawang import naman.
Import. Yeah, of course. I don't have to go far. You have Norman Black and Bobby Parks.
Yun na nga.
Again, if you ask me to choose another player, I would stick in the name of Sean Chambers.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yung tatlong heavy cuts na import. Buti ka kakampi niya si Billy Ray Bates eh.
Maybe we'll make it 3-3.
Sige.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Once again, ang haba nitong ating session dito. Ang dami ko pang gusto itanong. I'm sure you guys marami pang gusto
Ako rin, hindi natin
itanong.
napag-usapan yung reunion game nung 2003.
Yes, 2003
Sayang
reunion game. Tapos actually, we do have a
Saka
video
lunchtime na. Gutom na tayo lahat eh.
Sobra.
Hey,
Pero
shoutout nga pala kay shoutout kay Rod Yabes who helped us out with our X's or O's today.
Thank you very much. Last pala, Mr. Chito, maybe you want to thank anybody before we call this a day sa yung basketball journey and your journey for your career. You did mention Moing Martilino earlier, and of course the great Chito Loyzaga. But anybody else do you want to thank sa journey mo?
Well, honestly, not anyone in particular. But if we're really going to talk about my career as a Ginebra player and up to today, I want to thank all the supporters, the followers, and the fans in particular that continue to cheer for Ginebra. There are new fans that sometimes I meet, watching the games, and they have never. I don't know if they have watched me play, but some of them are new fans, and I still want to thank them that they continue to follow the team and then cheer for the team. No, they just have to remember that they're a source of inspiration for the new guys, and then they just should continue. No, apart from that, if there's any special people that I would really want to thank is my family, my wife, Tony, and my kids, Selena, Joaquin, and Cici. Though not all of them, particularly my youngest one, was not able to watch me play, but I'm sure with all the technology available, she can easily find a videotape available. No? But for me, it has been a great experience, and I want to thank them for all the support that they have given me to be beside me, and up to today, kinakantsawan nga ako ng mga anak ko eh. Because I have to be honest, I am not. You will not find me in any social media platform, and they keep on teasing me. My children keep on teasing me, Dad. You just cannot imagine what we can make if you were in the Instagram or the Twitter or anything that we post. All the followers that will follow said no. I'm not used to that.
Okay yan.
But quietly, I like even with the PBA, I'm so thankful for the PBA, and I wish them always all the luck. It's a very challenging time. I'm happy that they were able to put together that bubble, though it was really, I'm sure, very challenging for them. But I wish them more success. I think under Coach Commissioner Willie Marshall, they're in good hands, and I'm sure they will achieve more. After we get a sense of normalization and go on with our lives again, and we can have the fans back in the Coliseum watching the games. No. Hopefully, that's about it, partner. And rest assured to everybody that took time and listened to us and tuned in. Thank you so much. I am still. I also tune in to the PBA and to other sports. You just don't see me going out like I normally do. But I'm very thankful to all the supporters for a very wonderful and colorful career in basketball and with Ginebra.
Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. The dynamite himself, Joaquin Chito Loyzaga. Finally, after all of these months, we guessed him here on episode 66 of an eternity of basketball. And of course, we will be announcing our next guest very, very soon, but it appears that we may go stateside with our next guest. We'll let you know, of course. And of course, thank you again to Mr. Chito Loyzaga. And on behalf of my partners, of course, Sid Ventura and Charlie Cuna, and of course, our producer, Aaron over there in the US. Thank you very much for joining. This is episode 66 of An Eternity of Basketball, and we will see you next Saturday. Stand by for our announcements. Peace.
Mabuhay, Dynamite.
Paalam, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Sa uulitin.
Thank you.